Get the boat gassed up, saunter down to the dock. Put the Yeti in the back and she's ready to rock. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing. Got the whole family down here. It's a May River thing. If you ain't got a boat, you can hitch a ride. I'm sure one of your buddies has a sensitive side. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing.
Hey, let's try that again. Take two on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon here in the South Carolina Lowcountry. Tim Wood, your host for another edition of Lowcountry Chronicle, brought to you by the fine folks at Buford Drug Company. Bluffton's family pharmacy, located at William Pope Drive in Oakety. Very excited to have Buford Drug Company and the Dotson family as sponsors of the broadcast. They're doing great things over at Buford Drug. Amazing service to begin with. And then from there, what you're talking about is prices on par with all of the big chain pharmacies. You're talking about a fantastic gift shop and a nostalgic soda fountain, which is amazing, where you can just saddle up to it, sit on the stools, have yourself a shake, an egg cream sundae, anything that your heart desires when it comes to ice cream, when it comes to hot dogs, ham and cheese, croissant sandwiches, all sorts of different food items you can get there at the soda fountain. Again, Buford Drug Company, William Pope Drive, right outside the Sun City gates in Oakety. And one thing I do want to mention is we're still looking for families that we would want part of the Buford Drug Company pharmacy prescription delivery program. If you live on 170, if you live on Buckwalter Parkway, if you live on Bluffton Parkway, between Buckwalter and 170, this is a great program where they'll deliver your prescriptions for free to your house, and no having to go back and forth to the pharmacy. Very easy to switch. You'll get a free ice cream shake every month that you're part of the program. So leave some comments in the DM or in the comments section, or DM me, and we will get you all set up with Jacob and the whole crew over at Buford Drug Company. Okay, so huge thank you to Buford Drug Company. Just want to say, I went to the dump earlier today, and just got back from the dump, and it struck me going at that corner near Buckwalter Place and the Buckwalter Parkway, Bluffton Parkway, just the clear cutting that's gone on there to make room for the Buford Memorial Hospital Medical Center. It's very symbolic of a lot of concerns about the clear cutting going on around the Lowcountry right now. We've addressed that on what's happening in Bluffton. We'll continue addressing that here. But we're going to focus on one issue today that's really gotten everyone very frustrated. I do want to say just up front, I made a post on my personal Facebook. It's a time where we all need to have discussions. Wherever you sit politically, we need to just have, we need to be talking. We need to be outside of our silos. And, you know, you can disagree without being disagreeable and without hating each other personally. That's one thing that I've pushed dramatically. And, one thing I said on there, I want to be a fair broker when it comes to issues. I want people to know that whatever side of the issue that you're on, you will be treated fairly here. So, when it comes to this island beach parking issue, we're going to discuss this in a just factual manner. Then we'll bring on a guest, and we will. Our guest today is one of the most outspoken folks over the course of the week about this. It is Cassie Clayschulte, and so she will be joining us later on the broadcast. So, what is this? What is this? What is this island beach parking situation? Let's just start with the basics of it, okay? First off, so parking fees are going to be $3 per hour Monday through Friday, with a maximum daily charge of $15 per vehicle on Monday to Friday. Parking fees on Saturday and Sundays are going to be a flat daily rate of $20 per vehicle. Parking fees will be enforced daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. during the peak beach season of March 1st through September 7th. Visitors will pay online through a digital parking application accessed through their phones. Cash payments will no longer be accepted. Failure to pay or other parking violations will result in citations and fines ranging from $50 to $500. The parking fees will apply to the following: to Alder Lane Beach Park, to Dreesen Beach, to Fish Hall Beach, to Follyfield Beach, and Islanders Beach. Free parking for youth recreational sports will remain available at Chaplin Community Park for Burke's Beach. Beach parking fees will be enforced from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. beginning May 17th at Burke's Beach and through September 7th following the end of the youth sports season. So those are the basics in terms of what they are instituting. In terms of what that's going to mean to you, failure to pay for the parking, not parking in a designated space, or other parking violations will result in the following citations or fines. A first violation, a written warning and or a fine of $50 and notification of potential for vehicle towing or immobilization for any future violations. Second violation, a fine of $100, possible towing. Third violation, a fine of $250, mandatory towing, or immobilization of the vehicle at the owner's expense. A fourth violation, a fine of $500, mandatory towing. Say that fast 10 times. Or immobilization of the vehicle at the owner's expense. A $25 late fee will apply to any original fine not paid within 30 days of issuance, and the town or the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department may also tow, immobilize, or impound any vehicle if deemed necessary for public safety purposes. Now, why? Why is this happening? Hilton Head Mayor Alan Perry has said that parking fees will not only serve as an additional revenue stream, but it will give the town the ability to create their own municipal court. Their last municipal court closed in 2019. At this time, the town has no ability to enforce things like trash, bottles, and fireworks on the beaches. The newly proposed system gives the town the ability to enforce parking violations as opposed to law enforcement. Caligny Beach has 397 free spots. These spots will not be impacted. you will still be able to park at Coligny Beach, and we'll get into the why and the how on that in a little bit. Vacant lots at the former Wild Wing Cafe and Enchiladas will be converted into free parking lots. The remaining beaches account for 605 parking spots. The town estimates that revenue from the current rates will generate $1.5 million per year. So, when they first started discussing this in, I believe, 2020, there was a proposal for Coligny to be included in this. And they were factoring in probably about $3 million in revenue from the parking at that time. So they've cut down the Coligny part of this, okay? They've cut down the Coligny part of this, but they have enforced it at all the other beaches. And, you know, part of the frustration here is it's what's been said ahead of this. When Perry replied to an Island Packet questionnaire when he ran for mayor, he said, "We will be faced with more day trippers, which only create more congestion on our limited roads. The need for a system to provide real-time parking availability will be critical to reducing the daily trips to the island." I hate the term day tripper. We'll get into that more later. Mayor John Cann in 2020, he said, "We need to charge severely for that commodity, which is parking at the beach, and we'll get less and less day trippers coming in here." Tamara Becker, the current Ward 4 representative, said in 2020, "We shouldn't just create an organization that makes it easier for our day trippers and visitors to find parking for the beach. We need to keep the focus on the residents and our brand and maintaining what we've come to know and expect as an island." Okay, so that's what they said. So what does that mean? What it means is they are looking to reduce the amount of traffic that comes in from Bluffton, Hardyville, Beaufort, Savannah. They're looking to tamp down the day trippers. And when they do that, what are they doing? They're essentially saying that the day trippers mean nothing to the Hilton Head Island economy. They're basically saying, we're going to charge you to be here, and we hope that means you don't come here as much. It is a different tone. Factually speaking, this is a different tone. This is a different, if we're talking about eras, this is the opening salvo in a new era of relations between Hilton Head Island and Bluffton. We've already seen plenty of back and forth in terms of how this new bridge project is going to be built. And to be honest, that's the topic for another day. I still do not know fully where they are at in terms of how this bridge project is going to get built, how it's going to be funded. But I was struck by the amount of important folks that I lean on to kind of get a gauge of what's happening on the island and in island municipal circles. And I was struck by the number of folks that reached out to me privately, but you don't see them coming out on this issue. Why? They have to do business on the island. They have to do business with this town council. So while they may be vehemently opposed to this issue, and plenty of folks who reached out privately they can't speak up too loudly because they have plenty of other business, whether it be commercial business, whether it be parks and recreation causes, whether it be entertainment causes, they have almost been muzzled on this issue, which is really sad, because the sense that I got, this came out on Tuesday, in terms of just getting us ready for this March 1st date. For those who said this just happened, you're wrong. This has been discussed for a long time, okay? And so we've had a long time already to voice our frustrations about it. A lot of folks have. A lot of folks are just coming to this late because this is the first time that it's actually impacting them. When I posted a post on what's happening in Bluffton, on the What's Happening in Bluffton Facebook page, I reposted something that Riley Miller from WJCL had put up, and I just said, it's not that I didn't know about this. It's that I never thought they would do this. The timing in terms of where we're at with the economy could not be worse. The optics on this are awful. The message it's sending is awful. I mean, we lost former mayor, Hilton Head Mayor Tom Peoples in April 2024. He died a week after having back surgery. He was a mayor, not to steal a line from Matt Stock, but Tom Peoples was a mayor of the people. He was an everyman who fought his way up in his business, didn't really have a whole pot to piss in growing up, and fought his way to create a thriving business. And because of that, it seemed that no matter what he did, he always had a vision for the greater community, not just Hilton Head. He always had a vision for how his actions, for how the town's actions impacted the greater community. And, a lot of folks thought when he came in that he wasn't going to be much of a statesman. He proved to be to me, he is on the Mount Rushmore in terms of Lowcountry visionaries. And he proved to be one of the best statesmen we've seen in the Lowcountry in a long time. He reached out to everyone to get their views on issues. He took stock of what you had to say and made a fully realized opinion and course of action on important issues. He took away the beach parking meters that were on the island because he knew this was not the way. This wasn't the way to get additional revenue. Are we trying to piss off the visitors? Are we trying to limit the number of visitors by adding, if you're here for a week, you're probably adding another $100 onto a bill if a visitor wants to go to a public beach every day? Now, obviously, a lot of visitors are in private communities and are using the private access to the beaches. Okay, so let's say it's not as much about the visitors. Fair enough. The fact that this is targeted towards the non-residents, the fact that this was announced without any kind of Beaufort County pass. So Hilton Head Island residents will have a pass where they'll still be able to park free at all those beaches. There is no such pass for Beaufort County residents or Jasper County residents. The fact that that was not built in here, it just says that They're just tired of us coming over and using their resources. There just seems to be no factoring in of the concept that when families come over there, they're going to restaurants, they're shopping at supermarkets, they're getting gas, they're contributing to the local economy. A large part of the response I've seen here has been, okay, fine. We won't come. We're not going to come during the off season. And I don't agree with that, okay? I don't want to see all the small businesses penalized for the actions of what many would say are greedy politicians at the moment. Is this kowtowing to all of the folks along those roads leading to those beaches that now have these, $2 million properties? The bungalows are gone. Now we've got the big $2 million Airbnb properties. Or are we kowtowing to a smaller percentage of the island and ignoring just the common folk? It's disappointing. Folks were like, you should do a podcast immediately. You should do a podcast the day of when this news came out, the day when everybody was up in arms. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of gauge the reaction. I wanted to get reaction, to see what kind of reaction was out on social media from town officials. I wanted to be measured. I don't want to make this more than it is. The reality of that is there's been next to no reaction from town officials. Any sort of comment has been deferred to the town communications director. And to her credit, she has gotten back to folks. I'm sure she's been inundated. She has gotten back to folks. She has explained it as best she can. But to not hear from any of the town council that enacted this ordinance, it's very frustrating. And to be fair, I reached out. Listen, I'm a big fan of Mayor Alan Perry. I am. I'm a big fan of him personally. I don't have a vote, but I was excited to see him be elected mayor. I still like him. I saw him out and about Friday night. Invited him to be on, did not get any kind of response, and that's fine. That's fine. I want to be clear that we're going to try to present all sides of the issue here. Okay, there's a lot of very upset people right now, but we're going to try to present all sides of this. So enough of me talking. Let's start, before we get to our interview, let's just go into what you're saying, okay? A lot of comments online, a lot of mudslinging, but let's get into some of the things that you're saying, okay? So not even a per hour available on Saturday and Sunday. So all those times I stop by with a kid or a dog and yes, on leash in the appropriate hours, or just to take a stroll on Fish Hall and rinse off the feet and hop back in the car and see all the other people coming to do the same thing. These quick check-ins with the surrounding waters and with each other, the eye full of horizon and seagulls, that's going to cost me $20. I hate to say this, but single adoptive parent in a tough economy, I don't have $20 to pay for a walk. That is sickeningly exclusive. If you add that to the beaches that are resort access only, well, that's it. I pretty much don't live by the beach anymore. Not if a pop-in is going to cost me $20, non-negotiable on a Saturday. Even a whole beach day is going to limit how many times I can do that over the course of the summer. That's from Amy Marie Bartlett, and that was on the What's Happening in Bluffton page. So this is designed by the hotels and the people who own property on the beaches to have them all to themselves. They don't need the money. They just want the privacy. That is from D. Lenahan Guidis on that was on What's Happening in Bluffton. Terrible for those of us who live in Beaufort County and even work 5 days a week on Hilton Head to not even get to go beaching maybe a day or two a month without spending a lot. That's from Patty Wilson on What's Happening in Bluffton on Facebook. Short-term rental and hotel visitor traffic was down on Hilton Head Island by 25 to 30% last year. Imagine renting a place and now you have to pay $20 a day to go to the beach. What a welcome. That's from Ann Martinez. Aaron Pfaff. Wow. Moved from New Jersey to get away from excessive beach fees. That has not worked out. I agree that the weekend charge of $20 is excessive for sure. Sure. I think they should have kept it hourly as well. And I also believe the Beaufort County residents should be offered parking passes for a fee. I agree with you on the reasoning behind Caligny Beach parking still being free. If anything, I think that should be the number one paid parking lot and leave all the others as is for Beaufort County residents. I just hate that the argument that all Hilton Head residents are elitists and we don't want anyone coming here. Certainly not the case for many of us who rely on tourism and locals, meaning Beaufort County residents, for our businesses. That is from the co-owner of Cactus Street Cantina, Lauren Jordan, one of my favorite people here in the Lowcountry, and she said that on What's Happening in Bluffton. They should have at least thought of giving locals the option to buy parking passes. Do these people in charge ever think of any of these brilliant ideas through? But either way, this is one of the stupidest changes I have ever seen since living here. I'll enjoy hanging out in a blow-up kid pool this summer, I guess, since now the beach is too expensive and my neighborhood has too many people now that going to the pool is about the same as taking a bath with your neighbors. That's from Ren Marie. Live locally near the beach on Hilton Head Island, and most of us near here are just small condo owners. Don't believe the story they are telling you. The real issue is the continued overdevelopment on the island. Too much development and short-term rental equal not enough parking. So they are discouraging day trippers with $20 fees. It's shameful, and our politicians are to blame for this, not our neighbors. That's from Suzanne Brown on What's Happening in Bluffton. You know, it was refreshing to see a lot of perspectives from Hilton Head Island residents here. And we wanted to represent both sides of this. I would have preferred, I will have as many comments, but I would have also preferred to have some sort of town official on. That's not to say that we won't in the future. Schedules may have just not matched up. And I hope, I very much want this to be an open forum to have that discussion, to discuss why it's needed. There's a whole other side of this, and it's how are they going to enforce it? That is, honestly, that's a topic for another day, but there's a whole other side to the legality, to the fact that this goes against state guidance on the issue of beach parking fees. It's an issue for another day. What we want to tackle today is just the basics of what you need to know about and some initial reaction to it. Let's get back to that. It sucks for those of us that grew up on Hilton Head, had to move to Bluffton because prices were too high to live there, and now we have to pay to enjoy the beach. From Elizabeth Rabone Kyle. Mary Beth Hill says, where I went to the beach in South New Jersey, I paid $0 for on-street parking and then $32 for the season. Beach badge, good from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So going to the beach for 4 days, parking on Hilton Head Island will now be more expensive than the whole summer in New Jersey. I hope the town of Hilton Head realizes that residents over the bridge in Bluffton, especially those with families, will significantly reduce beach trips and undoubtedly negatively impact the many Hilton Head Island business owners that rely on visitors. I'm thinking of the restaurants where many grab food to go, the tiki bar, pool bar gyms, and other beach bars, the gift shops that rely on foot traffic for beach items, etc., and the Hilton Head Island spots we often stop for dinner after a day at the beach. Very disappointing. It's now cheaper to go to Sea Pines, to pay at the gate, to go to the beach, eat at the restaurant, and get the gate fee waived from the check. Think about that for a moment. That's from Dmitry Goncharenko. Now, I replied to Dmitry. I replied and I said, that's probably not going to be the case much longer. The fact that you put that out there, I'm sure somebody from Sea Pines said that and said, we can capitalize on this. So, but it is an interesting caveat in this, is that you can probably have a beach day and a meal by the water by going into Sea Pines. So maybe Sea Pines is a beneficiary of all this if they don't decide to up the charges themselves. The mayor and chamber presented to our Rotary Club. My takeaways were that this is to discourage day trippers who bring coolers, garbage, and don't spend money, and that unless you are staying on the island, you are seen as quote-unquote other, not community. I was extremely disappointed in this entitled attitude and in planning my beach time and the significant money I spend elsewhere. That's from Terry Colander. Paid the $20. This was from yesterday. This was from the first day that it was enacted, from Molly Berth. She said paid the $20 and then got a warning ticket for not paying. So obviously some glitches to be worked out there. Okay, so this is, and I'll just preface this by saying I wanted to have Lisa Bernstein on the show. Lisa is a Hilton Head Island resident, has worked on the island for so long, owned the Purple Cow on the island, loves everything about the island, and was very frustrated by this and chose to speak up. I have so many questions and concerns about the new charges for beach parking. Hilton Head Island residents can now get a free pass, but in my opinion, all Beaufort County residents should be able to purchase an annual pass, even Jasper County and Savannah residents. We need day trippers. Day trippers spend money in our shops and restaurants. Mayor Peoples got rid of the meters back in his day so that all would feel welcome. I guess we no longer want to make them feel welcome. I know they charge a shit ton in Jersey, but this isn't Jersey, and $20 a day is ridiculous. Also, I thought we were trying to encourage people to use the North End beaches because Cligney gets so crowded. This is definitely not encouraging that at all. $20 to go to Fish Hall? Ridiculous. Remember about 6 years ago or so when they were encouraging food trucks at the North End beaches to help relieve the congestion in Coligny? Why are the North End beaches the only ones that are going to have this fee? And she continues. Not putting meters at Coligny will only congest it more. Go to Follyfield and pay $20 and go to Coligny and pay $0. It would be an easy answer for me if I were coming from Bluffton. Are they not putting meters there because of all the festivals in the park? Having to pay $20 on top of the $20 entry, on top of the extra cost for food and drink, would probably sway some young families from going to the festivals. So let's not charge at the biggest lot with the most congestion. Plus, the dates are ridiculous. We get busy for spring break and Easter, but April 15th to June 15th are not that busy. Hilton Head in general is not nearly as busy as it was the past 5 years. Rising cost has a lot to do with it, and now we are making people's stay even more expensive. If someone is staying in an Airbnb off the beach, they are now adding an additional $115 to their week. Will they pay that and spend less in our businesses? Probably. Town council are the ones who made this decision. Send an email to anyone and all of them on this list and voice your concerns and complaints. The town manager is only doing his job. Again, that is from Lisa Bernstein. Bernie is is diehard a island advocate and booster as you will find, but she also calls balls and strikes, and I love that about her. She's not afraid to speak up on issues, and I truly believe she voices the frustration of a lot of folks that are less ballsy than her in terms of speaking up, that are worried about the fallout from speaking up. And again, I can back that up just by saying I'm not going to snitch in terms of who reached out to me, but I will tell you that I had an immense amount of people that I consider voices of reason when it comes to such issues, and that care deeply about the island and deeply about how the island fits into the Lowcountry ecosystem. Know how much tourism drives the Hilton Head economy. Know how much the day trippers mean, not only during the summer, okay, but when you have that goodwill that Mayor Peoples brought in getting rid of those parking meter fees, you are instilling a goodwill that is going to make Bluffton and Beaufort County residents more willing to come to the island in the off-season. I have talked to tens, if not hundreds of people this week that have said, okay, fine. I just, you want to get rid of the beach access, the beauty that we love here so much. I'll hit you in the wallet come the off season. And there's a lot of back and forth. Well, don't punish the small business owners. And I certainly agree with that sentiment, okay? But this was made in some of the comments. This response was made. They're not going to listen to non-island residents on this. They're not going to listen to us in Bluffton on this. I know that town officials from Bluffton have tried to voice their concerns here. I know that the Hilton Head Island Chamber of Commerce has tried to lay out the economic impact of such a decision. I know that there's been a lot of reasonable people trying to bring some perspective to this issue ahead of passing this ordinance. Even after the ordinance was passed, I think there was a lot of thought that we can get this reversed. We can make this so it's not an issue. Well, it didn't happen. So now we're in this spot. How does this compare? Like, if we talk about now what Hilton Head is in comparison to other beaches around the country. Let's go to California. Laguna Beach, $3 per hour, 3-hour limit at their beaches. Huntington Beach in California, $15 per day. Virginia Beach in Virginia, $2 per hour, $10 daily max. Myrtle Beach, $15 per day. Old Orchard Beach in Maine, from where I am from originally, $3 per hour. Scarborough Beach in Maine, which has truthfully become even more congested than Old Orchard Beach in the last 10 years, $20 per day. And again, if you want a comparison, okay, look to Scarborough, Maine, okay? And I know this from having lived there and having a lot of friends that still live there. Scarborough has exploded in population, okay? And Scarborough has become a very strong alternative to visitors and locals who do not want to go to Old Orchard Beach. And the result of that is the residents of Scarborough basically did the same thing and said, we don't want day trippers from Portland. We don't want day trippers from Lewiston and Augusta. Make them go to Old Orchard Beach. We don't want them here. So let's put the biggest fee we can on this to discourage it. Make no mistake about it. It is greed. That sort of fee, it's a lot of money. And especially, again, I've been in media and PR for 3 decades now. I cannot speak more to the optics of this. The optics of this are really poor. There's reasons, okay? There's reasons. And I know that the folks, I won't pretend to speak for them, but I know that having listened to a lot of the meetings on this, that there is a disdain for day trippers. There is a feeling that, you know what, if they're going to come here, let's make money off of them. Let's make money that goes to the businesses, that goes into our town pockets, okay? They want to fund a municipal court with this. What are they going to do? Okay, so once they fund the municipal court, are they going to stop with the parking fees? No. So then it just goes into their general fund. So many frustrating parts to this. I wanted to bring on one of the more reasonable folks that I saw speaking on this issue throughout the week. Her name is Cassie Clayschulte. She is a business owner, a mom of young kids with another on the way. Congratulations, Cassie. And she has not been a keyboard warrior on this. She has reached out to the town. She has encouraged others to reach out to the town to get involved in having a say in this beyond just Facebook comments. So let's bring on Cassie and discuss this a little bit more.
So we're excited to have on with us today, Cassie Clayschulte. There's been a lot of comments made on social media about this, a ton, some a little bit more heated than others. Cassie has been one of the more even-keeled and respectful folks out there, but with still a very strong opinion. Cassie, I really appreciate you joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, you're a business owner, you're a mother, of young ones. So you represent a large swath here, and you haven't just been the keyboard warrior here. You've taken action and tried to get more answers.
Yeah, and I think communication with our town councils is really the key here. It's wonderful to use social media to create awareness and have conversations and get the word out. But I think some of our town council members have made it clear that that's not their priority of what they're listening to. If we really want to make change, we really need to contact them directly. We need to email, we need to call, we need to do discussions like this. They actually even expressed to me when I called, they said, well, why aren't people showing up to our town council meetings? One thing I pointed out is that town council meetings are typically at 3:00 on weekdays.
The subcommittee meetings are often at 9 a.m., 11 a.m. It's like,
that's
you're
during the
doing
workday.
this statistically. Yeah.
Yeah. In Bluffton families and the average Bluffton resident, we're working class families. Those of us with kids at 3:00 in the afternoon, we're in the school pickup line. We don't have the option to go sit at these meetings all the time. And I really never thought that I would need to go sit at these meetings and speak up and say, no, please don't restrict our access to the beach for working families. I think that isn't anything that anyone saw coming. I know a lot of us feel very blindsided about that. After this winter, we've all been very excited to get out with our families and go to the beach. And now that's going to be a lot harder for everyday working families from Bluffton and Beaufort County.
When you first posted about it and you reposted Riley Miller's post, my immediate reaction was, okay, they've talked about it. I mean, it has been in the ether for a little bit, but it's one of those things where I was like, they would never do that. And especially given the way the economy is going right now. Like they would
Absolutely.
never do that right now.
Absolutely. A lot
And
of
they did.
families out here in Bluffton are really hurting, especially small business owners. Rent, not only residentially, but commercial rent in our area is absolutely skyrocketing. You are going to see businesses closing all over town and raising their prices because we can't afford the rent. Restaurants are hurting because food prices are more expensive. Housing is soaring. Groceries, insurance is soaring, and salaries are not. And if you own a small business, if you talk to almost any small business owner in town, and really on a national level, everyone has said that, it's been a hard year and that this next year is looking even rougher. And so I think at this time for Hilton Head to look at what's going on and say, you know what, this is a great time to try to squeeze every last nickel and dime out of hardworking average families, I think is a real slap in the face. And I think it shows that our politicians are, either very ignorant towards what's going on economically, or that they don't care and are having problem with empathy and really understanding what our residents are going through.
Your interactions with the town staff over there would seem to lean towards the latter in terms of not caring. Like
Yes.
and the idea that they're not, that the counselors aren't on social media, so they're not really paying attention. I mean, that's not an excuse.
Was not directed straight to the town council or the people who drafted this ordinance. She was quite lovely. She wrote down everything I said. She said she would bring it to the council. She did encourage me to come to the meeting on March 4th at 3 p.m. I let her know, I'm sorry, I'm going to be in pickup for daycare at that time. Let me see if I can try to arrange some childcare to make it to that. She also encouraged me to come to the strategic planning meetings that were yesterday and Wednesday. However, they were from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I said, okay, I think I can make that. I could take time off work and prioritize this and make that. What time will you be discussing this matter? And she couldn't tell me, which I understand. But she did say, you can watch the live feed to get an idea of when they start talking about it. And I said, well, but then I can't just jump in the car and be there. It would probably take me about 30 minutes. So that's not feasible either. And so it really is unfortunate that there's not an easy way for the average family to go and participate in these conversations. I also asked her, did the town study how this will negatively have an economic impact on families and businesses in the area? Did they look at that and see this negative effect that would happen and just say, let's go forward with this anyways, forget about them? Or was the town ignorant enough to say, let's enact this without doing any of our due diligence? And I think either answer. And she told me, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. And I asked her, I said,
Cassie, the problem is they're out there already. They've been out there. Alan Perry, various town council folks have been out there basically saying day trippers are not the priority, and speaking in a very condescending tone about day trippers. I hate the term because we're not day trippers. Like
we're residents.
We're not just going to the beach and polluting the beach and going back home. Like we're there. A, we're ambassadors as residents, and B, we're spending money at restaurants, at gas stations, at stores out there. It's not as simple. And like you said, I really question whether they've actually done, or let's put it this way, if they've listened to the economic studies, because I know that the Hilton Head Chamber of Commerce have done studies and presented them with numbers of impact here.
And it seems like that they've just gone and looked at these studies and then said, well, let's do it anyways. And I asked Heather to answer that question, and she said, I really can't answer that question. And I said, I know, because both options are really don't look favorable on the town of Hilton Head. And I said, if you have another answer, if there's a C option there, I would love to hear it. And she just said, I'd have to talk to the council before I answer that, because there isn't. Either they looked at the economic impact and how it would hurt local families and businesses and did it anyways, or they did it ignorantly. And neither one is a way that we want our local politicians to be acting.
Did she say anything specific? Oops, I'm sorry, Kat. Did she say anything specifically about who they were, who they were trying to take care of with this?
And let me know that they needed to appease the complaints of homeowners who live near public beach access points. That is a lot of words for just saying rich oceanfront homeowners. I don't know if there's any other kind. And great, I'm glad that those people were able to work hard and do well in life and afford those. However, the rest of us are working hard as well. We can't all have oceanfront property. And I think bottom line is no politician, I don't care who's voting for you, I don't care who's donating to your campaign, no politician should be just catering to a few rich people who complain and donate to your campaign and vote for you over the needs and the rights of the entire community. And not only our community, our whole Bluffton, Hilton Head, all of Beaufort County, and all of our visitors. I mean, our businesses here rely on tourism and visitors and day trippers. And, and I think it's also important to remember that a lot of Bluffton and Beaufort County residents and Jasper County residents are not only day trippers. We don't just go to the beach on weekends. A lot of us work on Hilton Head. We are a part of the Hilton Head community. There's no doubt about that. And to insinuate that we aren't, I think is a real slap in the face to people who work very, very hard on the island. For people who love the island, not everyone can live on the island, but we are all one community at the end of the day.
It's very telling to me. This is the first issue that I have seen in my 20 years here where you have very influential voices in the community that have spoken up. The type of voices I usually look to online or call or text behind the scenes to get a read on the situation. And they've all spoken up on this and they've been ignored. I mean, like I said, the Chamber of Commerce spoke up on this and was largely ignored. It's the first example that I've seen in 20 years where you've really just made a money grab and you've not taken into, they had time on this. They've discussed this for a while. They had time where they could have come up with a Beaufort County, Jasper County permit solution.
And I want to point out that, because when I was looking at the comments online, I saw a lot of very upset people from all over, not just from Bluffton, but people who were saying, we come here every year and now we're not going to go to Hilton Head anymore. We'll just go somewhere else because this is egregious. And there were a lot of people
This is visitors too. Yeah, absolutely.
And there were a lot of people from Bluffton that were saying this is devastating to our family. Our kids love the beach, but this is going to put it out of reach in a year where we're already struggling. And I did see a lot of comments from Hilton Head people who were outraged as well, saying, even as a Hilton Head owner, I think this is really awful. It's everyone's community. But overwhelmingly, the people on, and this is Facebook, so take it with a grain of salt. It's the grumpiest people ever. But there were a ton of really hateful and selfish comments from Hilton Head owners that really I don't feel represented our area well. There were people that were saying, while we're at it, let's put a gate on the bridge because we don't want anyone coming to the island, which is really ignorant and would hurt small businesses, just the way this ordinance is. There were a lot of people saying, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. And I really don't see in person when you come here, everybody's really lovely, especially when you stop into a local small business. I know there's a little ice cream shop that we go in, and I was actually on the phone with mommy and daddy had to pay $20 just to park. It's a hard year. Prices are going up. Salaries are not. My business is hurting immensely because our town is hurting because prices are going up. Our rent is going up. My expenses are going up. My insurance skyrocketed. It's a really hard year.
You own a photography studio, correct?
Yes.
And so that's more of a choice. I won't even say luxury, but that's more of a choice spend, right? Yeah.
And I do newborn photography and I do children and sports and things like that. But my bread and butter is newborn photography. And those are important photos to families. And I've had families, just let me know, like, we're going without all of the luxuries for this baby because we have to. Or I have people that saying, we're really having to save up. And a lot of us small business owners, the more that our client and the residents of our county are squeezed by rent and groceries and insurance and all of those things, the less they're able to spend freely with us. And it's hurting us. And this ordinance is not going to help. And I do think it will hurt Bluffton business owners, because if everyone's hurting, we're hurting. But I think the people it's going to hurt the most are going to be non-Coligny located Hilton Head businesses. Because you know what? If we are forced to park at Coligny because it's free, which it's also really important to point out that Coligny parking it's been okay. We've always been able to find a spot, but it's been tough. I mean, it's crowded, and it is going to be insane.
I've
There's
talked to
no
a
way I'm
number
going
of
to be able to
Coligny.
convince my husband to go to Coligny this year. He's just, we're going to have a little one. I'm going to be very, very pregnant this summer and have a newborn, and $20 on top of that, we're having to fight all that traffic. I don't think we're going to be able to go very often, which means we're not going to be able to stop to get lunch or ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a number of businesses down near Coligny specifically, and they know that a cluster, what is coming in turn, because it's already tight in terms of parking.
Yeah, and it's been tolerable.
Yes, but you already have such a spillover.
Oh, we can't park because of all the day trippers. Well, Hilton Head residents have a jump on us. They can get there earlier. We've come from Bluffton on the busiest days. We went on 4th of July once, or Memorial Day or something like that, and we were able to get parking. It's not impossible, but it is going to be horrible going forward.
And you did some number crunching. I mean, when we talk about the economic impact, not just on, you're talking about potentially Coligny businesses, you're talking about non-Coligny businesses, North End businesses.
And I think Coligny businesses are going to really hurt, because if people are parking more in Coligny because it's free, they're going to spend that extra money at Coligny businesses, which is great for them. But if you're a non-Coligny business, which a majority of the island are, we're not going to go to that little shop that was at, closer to the other beach. We're just going to go where we can park. And so I think it's really going to have an unfair impact on non-Coligny businesses. But yeah, I did some number crunching on what it would cost the average family from outside of Hilton Head. If an average family goes during this March 1st to September 7th peak parking season that they're enacting this for, if they just went once a weekend, every other weekend, it's going to cost that family $270 to go to the beach, And everybody loves to complain that families aren't spending enough time together, that kids are just on their devices. They're not getting outside and getting fresh air and playing. We're not getting quality family time. The beach is the one place where we can go and get that quality family time, either free or cheap. And I think that's a really important factor, and if our town council is going to say that they care about our families and our residents, they can't say that and put this ordinance into place at the same time.
Think about $270 times, let's just say, 3,000 families in Beaufort County. And I feel like your numbers are probably conservative. My thoughts are probably conservative there. But you just take those numbers alone, and you're talking about a big chunk of money that may not put back into the Bluffton and Beaufort County economy.
Absolutely.
It's, and
that's money that
you had mentioned
that
it.
Hilton Head businesses too, because a lot of people in Hilton Head are saying, well, I don't care because I can park for free. And it's going to hurt Hilton Head businesses even more.
One thing that I'm going to talk about in another broadcast, but I mean, this is going against state guidance as well. And there's all kinds of issues here in terms of the actual enforcement of parking, who's doing the enforcement. Beaufort County Sheriff's Office wants nothing to do with this, from what I've heard. They're not going to be doing the enforcement. Legally, you have to have a municipal court to listen to these traffic violations, which Hilton Head does not have.
And so they would.
Yes. But even then, yeah, they'll have to have their own municipal court, which again is a huge cost to get up and running and maintain. And all signs point to them not doing that. So I just don't know how they're going to enforce this. I don't know how they're not listening to state guidance on this. And just like, you'd mentioned off the air that the beach is owned by the state.
Mm-hmm. And the beach is for everyone. The beach is owned by the state. It's for everyone in the state. It's for visitors. It's for Beaufort County residents, Bluffton residents, and Hilton Head residents. And I have no problem with that. And I know that I don't mind pumping quarters into the meters and paying a little bit for parking when Islanders get like it used to be a $15 beach pass or whatever. I think Hilton Head residents should get free parking or cheaper parking than us. Absolutely. We don't want to take that from them. I think it's just important that we don't punish Bluffton and Beaufort County residents or our visitors. And yes, we should pay for beach parking, but $3 an hour is similar to what, and actually I pulled a couple of rates. $3 an hour and $20 a day is more than several of the high-end beaches in California. It's more than a couple that I'm reading off here it's more than Newport. It's more than Laguna Beach. It's more than Torrey Pines. It's more than several beaches in San Diego, and whether we're moving here from California, a lot of people move here from California because they're tired of the rates in California. And then now we're thinking we're more expensive than them, and let's face it, very few people are from Hilton Head Island or from Bluffton, and everybody moves here for the beach. Very few people are moving here because we're a booming economic area with lots of jobs in different sectors. My husband and I moved here and said we would get whatever jobs we needed to get to live near the ocean. The economy here is based on tourism. So if you're moving here, you're moving here for tourism, for one. If not, you're moving here and doing what you can do to help our community to live near the ocean. That's what it's all about. I know that's why we moved here, is that we wanted to live near the ocean. And now that we've lived here, we're like, we can never live somewhere where there's not the ocean. It's just amazing. Our family visits to see us, but to also go to the beach.
How long have you guys been here?
We have been here, it'll be 14 years this summer.
Wow.
Yeah, we feel like it. We feel like we've been here forever at this point.
Why I bring that up is, I've been here for about 20 years now. And there was a point early on when the Bluffton and Hilton Head high schools were just splitting. There was still a point of a lot of animosity and just like people staying in their own little circles, and Hilton Head people versus Bluffton people, and a lot of animosity around.
Oh yeah, when we moved here,
school.
I very quickly learned that we were called Bluffganistan, which is rude and offensive in a lot of ways. And I'm from Texas. We drove 14 hours when we moved here, and we didn't even get out of Texas. And I think I spent more time just driving through Dallas than I've spent in traffic in the whole 14 years I've lived here. We're Bluffton and Hilton are not that far apart.
Not at all.
We are the same community. And so I laugh when people say, oh, Bluffton's so far away. And I just have to laugh being from Texas.
Same. It has evolved. When you talk about Taylor Swift and her eras, this has been the era of good feelings between the two towns. Mayor Peoples took away the parking fees. He got rid of the meters because he knew that we're one big community. And so I think that's the biggest, when you talk about those folks who are like, let's just put a gate on the bridge. There are people that are really scared on both sides of the bridge that this really is like a salvo in the start of a new era of going back to the way it was in terms of let's just put a wall up between the two of us.
Completely agree. And when we first moved here, we were a young couple. We didn't have kids. We had bought our first house, and we were like, where is everyone? Where do we meet people our age? Where do we meet anyone who lives here? Where do we gather as a community? Because when we first moved to Bluffton, there wasn't a lot of that. But the one place that we would go was the beach. And you could meet people at beachside restaurants and things like that, and, find good local restaurants. And I have noticed that both Hilton Head and Bluffton have done a really great job of trying to bring our community together with public parks instead of just playgrounds and parks that are within gated communities. We've loved the new Riverside Park. My little boy loves the Celebration, the pirate ship park. We have a Saturday tradition of going to that and then going to a local restaurant to get lunch. And, those prices are going up. Like that ice cream that we get every weekend, I mentioned, started doing that, I think 2 years ago, and that ice cream was $6 and now it's 12 because the rent has gone up for those people and the costs have gone up for those people. And I love paying $12 for one ice cream for my toddler, but we do it to support that local business. And because it's a tradition for our family, I love seeing my little boy's eyes light up. It's a special tradition. And, I think a lot of families in our area are going to lose those traditions and the businesses are going to hurt because of it. But I do commend our area on really focusing on bringing our community together and then enacting this ordinance. It really contradicts that. And it's a bad look for the politicians of Hilton Head and for the residents of Hilton Head.
Before us talking here online, and it's a pleasure to officially meet you. I've talked to and seen you online so often. I know you're a person of action, and you took action here. Where does this leave you now? Do you feel like there's any more recourse here, or what do you suggest to folks that are still just complaining online at this point?
I think it's going to take a lot of action from a lot of people, from a lot of families, a lot of business owners. I think just complaining in the comments is not enough. I think we need to show up to meetings if we can. We need to email, we need to call, and we need to not give up on it. The beach is for everyone. Point blank. At the end of the day, it is state property. It is amenity that everyone should be able to enjoy. And I don't think we need to take away from Hilton Head residents for us to do that. But I think that it needs to be fair. And at the end of the day, we don't want politicians who are going to prioritize the people who are donating to their campaigns. We need politicians that are going to do what's right ethically and for everyone in our community. Otherwise, why are we electing politicians that only care about getting campaign donations and votes? I don't think that's what anybody wants. And I think in the long run, that's not going to be good for our community.
When we're doing these Lowcountry Chronicle podcasts, the whole point of it is largely good news. But it is also just to chronicle what's going on in the community. And I wanted to wait on even talking to you. A lot of folks were saying to me, you need to get on there immediately and talk about this. And I was like, okay, but I do want to be somewhat measured. I want to see if there is any response to this clear mandate and clear voice from the people. And there just hasn't been. And so then your next course of action is just to speak up about it, and not let this just kind of slide under the table.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of people just say, well, I just guess we just won't go to the beach very much this summer. And I don't know how I'm going to tell my kids. And I totally understand feeling helpless because I feel the same. And it is going to be so hard, especially for families. And I've seen a lot of people on those comments say, well, just, and I think that the representative from Hilton Head said the same thing. She said, well, you can always take our Palmetto Breeze. And I said, have you seen a family walk from the parking lot with their little ones and their beach carts? I know we're usually toting a little one. We have our beach cart full. We've got, it's kind of a joke and a trope to see the dads carrying the cooler and the chairs and the umbrella, and then you've got the beach cart packed down. And how are we going to take that on the breeze? With little kids want to stand in a hot parking lot waiting for the breeze with 2 or 3 little ones. So we couldn't go to the beach because we couldn't get in an Uber because there aren't car seats, and you can't install most car seats in an Uber. They need a base. And so we really were kind of landlocked out here. And so, and what this is, it's a privatization of public amenities and public land at the end of the day, which is wrong.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. You've got a family, you've got a business run, you've got another one on the way. Congratulations. That's fantastic. So I appreciate you taking the time to get on. I appreciate the voice that you've lent to this online and now here. It's important. It's important for folks to take action to take meaningful action, not just keyboard warrior action. So I really appreciate.
And there's a lot of really strong, great comments of people that are outraged in like private groups, like the local mom groups and things like that. And please take your comments straight to the town council because they're not seeing that. I guarantee you that Mayor Perry is not in the Bluffton moms Facebook and he's not seeing those. So please take them out, and please, if we can, if anyone is able, go in person to the meetings to park at Target. which, is an option. It might be an effective option. Because, we do have Hilton Head residents who come to Bluffton and use our amenities and go to our businesses that they don't have on the island. And I think that just is another point that we are one community and we are all sharing amenities and resources. And I think that there's no reason that the council shouldn't be able to reach a compromise, whether it's cheaper parking, a day rate on weekend, a special rate for Beaufort County residents or Town of Bluffton residents, or a beach pass. But $20 to go, and not just families. If someone wants to go sit on a Sunday and read their book on the beach for an hour, it's going to cost them $20, which is just absolutely egregious. So not having an hourly rate on weekends is really just, there's no reason for it.
I really hope, the tenor of our current town council in Bluffton is not of this ilk, but if they're taking enough heat on this, then what's to say? I mean, we joke about that $20 for parking in a Target or a Home Depot, but what's to say that Bluffton won't just be reactionary on this and say, hey, listen, all right, we're going to start charging $20 to park in Old Town.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not a good path. It's not a good path to go down. And I do hope that clearer heads prevail here.
I have faith in the town council at Hilton Head that they are better people than this. I have faith that they will listen to the surrounding community and make ordinances with empathy and kindness and hospitality in mind, because this last decision was not that. And it reflected very poorly on our local politicians. And it is honestly reflecting poorly on Hilton Head as a whole, on its residents, on its businesses, and it's going to hurt tourism and families, and it's going to hurt Hilton Head's reputation. We are going to lose people to Myrtle Beach. We're going to lose people to Charleston. We're going to lose people to the Sea Islands. And these local businesses that depend on hospitality are going to feel that effect. And so I guess we'll see if the town council really cares about their constituents or not.
I think that's a great point to end on. And I appreciate your time here very much. Cassie Clayschulte, business owner, mom, wife. You're representing a lot of different voices here. And I really appreciate you being a voice of reason in all of this and a voice of action. And I appreciate you taking the time here on Lowcountry Chronicle.
Thanks for having me.
So that's Cassie Clayschulte. Huge thanks to her for coming on. It's one thing to type your comments on Facebook. It's another to actually put your face on camera and voice those concerns, and especially in the way that she did. As I've said, I don't want to just present one side of this issue. Okay? I've tried to include some Hilton Head voices with Lauren Jordan and Lisa Bernstein, among others. If there's something I'm missing here, I want to know. I want to have those discussions with Hilton Head town council members on camera. I want to understand this if I'm missing something. If I'm not, the silence speaks volumes, okay? In terms of, is there any outreach to have a discussion? That silence right now is speaking volumes. I'm not seeing any sort of explanation from any of the town council. As I said, very few use social media for the good that they could use it for, to just put messages out, put their positions out on issues like this, and to be very clear and to have open dialogue with constituents. This is not an issue that's going away. There's many layers of this onion to peel back, and we will have further discussion about this for sure. As I said in the interview, and I've said this before, we really want to focus on good news with Lowcountry Chronicle and what I'm doing with what's happening in Bluffton. But we're going to cover the important issues as well. And I'm seeing some immediate reaction online from the interview. What does Mayor Toomer have to say about this? We'll find out. I will reach out for sure. I do know that he's been one of the folks that have listen, he's respectful that's their community, that he governs our community. But the mayors of Bluffton and Hilton have always had strong relationships, and so I know that Mayor Toomer has spoken up a little bit behind the scenes on this. Um, uh, how, as I said in the interview, how vocal our town council in Bluffton, my town council in Bluffton, I'm not saying our, because this covers this broadcast covers the entire Lowcountry, but my town councilors in Bluffton, they're not going to jump into this fray. They have enough issues to deal with in the everyday, in terms of the growth in Bluffton and the issues they deal with Bluffton. They're not going to jump into this fray unless you, the residents, make it clear that this is impacting you very negatively. I don't want to see a tit for tat situation here where we start charging $20 for parking in Old Town. And honestly, I really, really hope we don't see a situation where our town government says, ooh, look at that. They're making like $1.5 million a year in parking fees. Well, let's do that in Old Town. Not even as well, if you can do that, we can do that, and we can keep you out of Bluffton too. More of it's scary to say that, well, just like in sports where teams copy successful plays, what's to stop another town from saying, hey, they made 1.5 million on this, and they still got reelected, so maybe we should do the same thing. Time will only tell on all this, folks. As I've said, I do want to be a fair broker on this and other issues. And we may not agree, but I'm never going to be disrespectful to you when we have an interview. I do want to say there were some rough cuts in that interview, okay? And I'm dealing with this in a couple other podcasts that I do. We're working on some new technology, and there's some glitches. And I think that the vast majority of what Cassie had to say came through loud and clear. There were a couple of rough edits in there where I was trying, and maybe I don't edit them. Maybe I don't put those captions on immediately, and I put those on in social media posts after the fact. We'll look into that. I don't want anything to come off too choppy and you don't understand it, and then you don't end up listening or watching. So I do think that the vast majority of the points that Cassie was getting across came through. There were and I'm not ignorant to that there's some rough cuts there. So if you're watching, I feel you. Okay, so there is a petition that's out there, over 1,000 signatures right now. There's a petition to say we want this change ixnayed, and please consider doing this at another time when the economy is not hitting us so hard in the patootie. We have a link to that on what's happening in Bluffton. Again, Cassie said it so well. I can't say this enough. I do so much business on Hilton Head. I have so many friends on Hilton Head. I am not looking to be a warmonger here. We need to be one strong community, and we need that more than ever in the climate that we're living in right now. So I am not looking to throw gas on the fire. If I was looking to throw gas on the fire, I would have gone on air on Tuesday, and I'm not looking, and I would not, I'm not getting clicks on a Sunday afternoon. This was between wanting to play this out a little bit more and then just my schedule. This was when we could do it. So we will have much more to say on this issue. I want to just say to you, listen, if you have things going on, like the whole point of this broadcast is to get out of our silos. I want everyone, if there's something going on that's cool in your neighborhood, I want the entire community to know. If there's cool people that you know that deserve to be interviewed, I want to interview them. So please let me know. DM me, Tim Wood, and I promise I'll get back to you. You can find this broadcast wherever you find your favorite podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible Podcasts. You can find it wherever you get your favorite podcast. So I hope that you'll become a subscriber and a regular listener. We always want to hear from you in terms of great, interesting topics. I'm very curious the thoughts on this vertical format, whether you want us to film it in a regular format and then convert it just for social media clips to the vertical format. But, we're playing around with the technology. We want to be available in as many different forums as possible. So that's going to do it for this edition of Lowcountry Chronicle. My name's Tim Wood. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to listen and to be part of the discussion here. It's ongoing, and this topic is not going away, and we'll continue to follow it. We'll continue to follow some good news too, and we'll get back to that with the next edition of Lowcountry Chronicle. Huge thank you to Buford Drug Company. Want you to check them out. William Pope Drive in Okatee, right outside the Sun City Gate, near Okatee Ale House, near the hotels that are over there. Check them out for all of your prescription needs. They've got a gift shop, a soda fountain, so much more than just a pharmacy. Family owned and operated. They're amazing people. And they've got a great prescription delivery program going on that just comment or DM me and we will get you in on, because we are still looking for families to be part of that. Okay? Again, we will see you and hear you on the next edition of Lowcountry Chronicle.
It's a May River